An old man stares into the mirror. His body is slower, his face carries deep lines, and the world outside moves faster than he can follow. It looks like an ending. But what if aging isn't the closing of a story, but the beginning of a deeper one? In Buddhist wisdom, growing old is not decline. It is awakening. It is the chance to see life with clarity, to live with compassion, and to finally rest in inner peace. Still, for many, aging feels confusing. The body changes. The roles we once held fade away. And the question arises, who am I now? This is where suffering begins. Not in the years themselves, but in our resistance to them. We cling to youth, to status, to control, and the tighter we hold, the more it hurts. But here is the paradox. The very things we fear, losing control, comparison, identity, are the keys to freedom once we let them go. When we stop clinging, something opens. Something unexpected. And here's the truth almost no one tells you. In the next 60 seconds, you will discover a perspective on aging that most people never realize until it's too late. If you skip this, you may miss the chance to transform not just how you see growing old, but how you live right now. Because aging does not take away life. It teaches us how to truly live. Before we go deeper, take a moment. If this message already touches something in your heart, share it with someone you love. Hit the follow, like, or comment, so this wisdom can ripple outward. It's our way of passing light into the world. Now, let's step together into the truth of aging. A truth that holds not fear, but freedom. And it begins with the first secret. Suffering does not come from age, but from attachment. 1. Suffering comes from attachment. We often think that pain comes from aging itself, from the body slowing down, from losing the roles we once held, from watching the mirror show a face we barely recognize. But if we look closer, the truth is different. It is not age that hurts. It is our attachment to what we believe we must keep forever. We cling to youth as if it could be preserved in glass. We cling to our old titles, our old strength, the admiration of others. And when life naturally changes, the clinging tears us apart. The Buddha once taught that suffering is not in the event, but in the grasping. Imagine holding tightly to a rope that is slipping through your hands. The tighter you pull, the deeper it cuts. But if you let go, the pain begins to ease. In the same way, the years themselves are not cruel. It is the resistance, the fighting, the "I cannot let this go" that brings suffering. Think of someone who wants to find themselves by their career. Every achievement, every ounce of worth, tied to what they could produce. Then, retirement comes. The office is gone, the phone is silent. And suddenly they ask, "Who am I now?" The sorrow is not in the retirement itself. It is in the identity that was clung to. The belief that without it, life has no meaning. But here lies the hidden gift. When we loosen the grip, a new freedom appears. When we no longer need to be the person we once were, we become open to the person we are now. This is why Buddhist wisdom calls aging a teacher. It strips away the illusions we once held, so that only what is essential remains. Compassion, presence, the ability to savor a single breath, a single smile, a single moment of stillness. And isn't that what we were searching for all along? So the next time you feel the ache of change, pause. Ask yourself, is this pain truly from the years or from my refusal to let them flow? Can I release the rope, even a little, and see what freedom feels like? Because freedom is not in holding on. Freedom is in opening the hand. And with that opening, the heart begins to rest. This is only the first step. But without it, the journey toward peace cannot begin. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Suffering is not given by life, it is created by attachment. Now that we've uncovered this truth, the next question naturally arises. If letting go is the key, then how do we practice it in daily life? That is where our journey continues. 2. Letting go in practice. There is a quiet truth we all resist. Life has its own rhythm. It flows like a river, steady and unhurried. Yet so often, we stand in the middle, trying to dam the current with our bare hands. We tell ourselves, if I plan enough, if I work harder, if I control every detail, then life will bend to my will. But has it ever truly worked? Aging reminds us of this illusion in the most direct way. We cannot command the body to stay young. We cannot order time to slow down. We cannot make the people we love stay forever, no matter how tightly we hold. And the more we fight against this truth, the more restless the heart becomes. The Buddha taught that clinging to control is like trying to catch the wind. The tighter we close our fists, the more empty they feel. But when we open the hand, when we allow life to move as it must, we discover something surprising. Peace. Think of someone who spends their days trying to control everything. The schedule must be perfect. The children must act exactly as expected. The body must perform as it did 20 years ago. But reality does not follow commands. And so each day becomes a battle against what already is. Now imagine another way. A person who accepts the changes of their body, who allows others to walk their own path, who trusts that life's unfolding has its own wisdom. Such a person walks lightly. Even when storms arrive, their heart does not shatter because they were never clinging to the illusion of control in the first place. Letting go is not weakness. It is courage. It is the courage to say, I do not have to hold the river. I can learn to float with it. And in floating, we find freedom. Freedom from the constant anxiety of trying to fix what cannot be fixed. Freedom to notice the beauty that was always there, the sound of rain, the smile of a stranger, the stillness of a quiet morning. This is why Buddhist wisdom points us back to surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of trust. Trust that life has seasons. Trust that every beginning carries its own ending, and every ending hides a new beginning. So when the urge to control rises in your chest, pause, breathe, and remember, life is not asking you to control it. It is inviting you to trust it. Because peace is not found in bending life to your will. Peace is found in letting life move as it was always meant to. And once we understand this, we are ready to explore the next step, how acceptance itself becomes a practice of daily liberation. 3. Stop comparing. There's something quiet but destructive that we all do. It slips into our thoughts without us noticing. It's comparison. We scroll through our phones and suddenly feel small. We look at someone's success and wonder why our life doesn't look the same. And slowly, without realizing, joy begins to leak out of us. But here's the truth. Every life unfolds in its own rhythm. No two journeys are ever meant to look alike. Each of us walks on a path carved by countless causes and conditions. The family we were born into, the struggles we faced, the lessons we learned, none of it is identical to another's story. When we compare, we're fighting against reality itself. We're trying to measure the ocean with a teacup, and the result is always frustration. The Buddha taught that suffering often begins when we resist what is. Comparison is exactly that, a resistance to the beauty of our own life. Instead of honoring the ground we stand on, we keep looking across the fence. But remember, the grass isn't greener there. It's greener where you water it. So pause for a moment, Look at your own life. Notice the richness already present the people who love you, the skills you've gained, even the challenges that shaped your strength. These are not small things. They are treasures, waiting to be seen. It's easy to believe happiness is somewhere out there, in what others have achieved. But true contentment is found when we return to what's here, now. When we stop chasing someone else's story and begin honoring our own. So the next time you catch yourself comparing, breathe. Say gently to yourself, my path is mine. It is not meant to look like anyone else's. And let that truth settle in your heart. Because the day we stop comparing, we open the door to gratitude. And gratitude is the soil where joy naturally grows. 4. Every wrinkle is a teacher. Have you ever looked at your reflection and noticed a new wrinkle? Sometimes it feels like a thief has visited us overnight. We think, I'm getting older. I'm losing my youth. And with that thought, a quiet fear enters the heart. This fear is so common. We live in a culture that worships youth, smooth skin, and fresh beauty. Every commercial whispers, stay young, fight aging, hide the lines. But Buddhism invites us to see differently. Because those lines on your face, they are not signs of loss. They are living records. Each wrinkle is a teacher. Each crease carries a story that belongs only to you. Think about it. The lines around your eyes? They are from the times you laughed so hard, tears rolled down your cheeks. The soft folds near your mouth? They remember the smiles you gave, even when life was difficult. And those deeper marks on your forehead? They carry the weight of nights spent worrying, struggling, yet surviving. These are not marks of decline. They are proof of resilience. They are evidence that you have lived, that you have loved, that you have endured. The Buddha taught that all things are impermanent. The body changes, the seasons turn, youth fades. But impermanence is not a curse, it's the very ground where wisdom grows. Like fruit ripening on a tree, aging is not falling apart. It's becoming full, deep, and complete. When you look in the mirror, instead of saying, I'm losing something, try whispering, I've gained something. Because you have. You've gained understanding, compassion, patience. You've gained scars that turned into strength. You've gained eyes that can see more deeply than when they were young. Yes, the skin may soften, but the soul becomes sharper. Yes, the body may slow down, but the heart knows how to love more gently. And that is beauty that no wrinkle can erase. So the next time you notice a new line on your face, pause. Instead of sadness, offer gratitude. Gratitude for the lessons you've lived through. Gratitude for the wisdom that now flows quietly beneath the surface. Every wrinkle is a reminder. Not that time is running out, but that life has been fully lived. Every wrinkle is a teacher. And if you listen closely, it will tell you, you are not fading. You are ripening into the fullness of who you truly are. 5. Aging sharpens compassion. There comes a time in life when we realize we no longer react the way we once did. What used to make us angry doesn't sting as much. What once felt unbearable, we now carry with quiet strength. This is one of the hidden gifts of aging. It doesn't just bring wrinkles on the face. It brings softness to the heart. When we are young, the ego often stands tall. We want to prove ourselves. We want to win every argument, to be seen, to be right. But as the years pass, life teaches us lessons that no book could ever hold. We experience loss. We feel disappointment. We stumble, we fall, we rise again. And slowly, the sharp edges of the ego begin to smooth out. Not because life became easier, but because suffering has given us depth. Think about it. When you've known heartbreak, you see the pain in someone else's eyes more clearly. When you've struggled with failure, you understand the quiet weight another person carries. And when you've sat in your own darkness, you no longer judge those who are still searching for light. This is compassion. Not pity, not sympathy, but a deep knowing. A recognition that we are all fragile in some way, all walking through our own storms. The Buddha once said, "Compassion is the wish for others to be free from suffering." And aging, with all its trials and tenderness, naturally cultivates that wish within us. We begin to care less about being right and more about being kind. We care less about proving our worth and more about easing someone else's burden. We stop rushing to judge because we know life is already heavy enough. So instead of resisting aging, what if we honored it? What if we saw each passing year not as decline, but as ripening? The ripening of patience, the ripening of empathy, the ripening of a heart that has learned again and again how to break and still remain open. If you look closely, you'll notice this in elders who radiate peace. It's not that they never suffered. It's that suffering softened them instead of hardening them. And that softness, that compassion is the true beauty of age. So the next time you feel the weight of getting older, remember this: your compassion is sharpening. Your heart is expanding. And the world needs that more than it needs your youth. Aging isn't the end of your story. It's the blossoming of a deeper chapter. A chapter where love flows more freely and compassion blooms like a quiet, timeless flower. 6. Presence is the greatest gift of aging. There's a quiet shift that happens as we grow older. The future doesn't pull us as strongly as it once did. The past doesn't weigh us down quite the same. And in that space, something beautiful begins to emerge. Presence. When we're young, our minds are often racing ahead, chasing dreams, worrying about what's next, always in a hurry to arrive somewhere. Or we're stuck looking back, replaying old mistakes, holding on to regrets. And life, in its most precious form, slips right past us. But aging has a way of softening this restlessness. We start to see that the future is not promised, and the past cannot be changed. What's left then is the gift we've overlooked all along this moment. Think about it. A simple cup of tea becomes more than just a drink. It's warmth in your hands, the fragrance rising, the taste grounding you here and now. The laughter of a grandchild isn't just noise in the room. It's music, fleeting and sacred, reminding you of life's purest joy. These moments have always been there. But as the urgency of youth fades, we finally learn how to see them, how to taste them, how to bow to them with gratitude. The Buddha often spoke of mindfulness not as something we must force, but as a natural quality of awareness. And aging, with all its slowing down, draws us gently toward that awareness. We no longer feel the need to rush past today to get to tomorrow. We no longer cling so tightly to yesterday. Instead, we begin to rest more fully in what is. Presence is not about doing more. It's about noticing more. The way sunlight spills across the floor. The way silence holds you in the early morning. The way a single breath can steady the whole mind. And here is the great paradox. What we once feared that time was running out becomes the very reason we finally live. Not in the past, not in the future, but here. So as you walk through the later chapters of your life, remember this: aging is not just the loss of youth. It's the deepening into presence. It's the opening of your eyes to the sacredness of ordinary moments. Because in the end, the greatest gift you can give yourself and those you love is not your achievements, your possessions, or your plans. It's your presence, your full, undivided, quiet presence. And that presence is timeless. Impermanence is inevitable. There is one truth we can never escape. Everything changes. No matter how tightly we hold on, no matter how much we wish otherwise, life is impermanent. And yet, this is often the very truth we resist the most. We fear aging because it reminds us that time is slipping through our hands. We fear loss because it shows us how fragile everything truly is. And so we fight. We dye our hair, we chase after youth, we try to freeze the moments we love. But no matter how hard we struggle, change continues its steady rhythm. This is where the Buddha's teaching on impermanence offers us a doorway to peace. What if impermanence is not an enemy to fear, but a teacher to revere? Think of the cherry blossom. It blooms only for a short while, then falls. Its beauty is inseparable from its impermanence. If it lasted forever, we would not bow to its fragile wonder. The same is true for the moments in our lives. A child's laughter, a warm embrace, even the years of our youth. They are precious precisely because they do not last. When we begin to accept this, something within us softens. Instead of clinging, we learn to appreciate. Instead of grasping, we learn to bow in gratitude. Aging no longer feels like a thief stealing time from us. It becomes a reminder to live fully in the time we have. Impermanence is not a curse. It is the very reason we love so deeply. Because we know the people we cherish will not always be here, we choose to hold them closer today. Because we know this breath will soon pass, we savor it more tenderly. The fear of change transforms into reverence for time. Every wrinkle, every gray hair, every season of life becomes a sacred marker of the journey. We see that nothing is permanent, and that is what makes everything meaningful. The river does not cling to its water. It flows. And in flowing, it is alive. We too are rivers, moving with time, carried forward by impermanence. And when we surrender to this truth, peace arises. So the next time you feel the sting of change, pause. Remember the blossoms, the river, the fleeting laughter, and whisper to yourself, this too is sacred, because it will not last. Impermanence is inevitable. But within that inevitability lies the invitation to truly live, to love deeper, to appreciate more, and to awaken to the fragile, fleeting beauty of this moment. 8. You are not your body. We spend so much of our lives staring at the mirror. We notice the wrinkles that weren't there yesterday, the hair that's thinner, the skin that doesn't quite glow the way it used to. And in those quiet moments, a thought sneaks in. Am I losing myself? That's the silent struggle many of us carry. On the outside, the body changes. On the inside, fear and resistance grow. We cling to youth as if it were our identity. But here's the truth: you are not your body. The body is like a garment. It wears down with time. It gets stained, stretched, and eventually, it returns to the earth. But the one who wears the garment, the awareness within you, is untouched. Think about it. When you were 5 years old, you had a different body. When you were 20, it was different again. Now, it continues to shift. And yet, the you who notices all these changes has never aged. The witness within has no wrinkles. Buddhism teaches that clinging to the body as me is the root of suffering. Because when the body aches, you believe you are broken. When the body grows old, you believe you are fading. But you are not fading. You are the presence that notices. You are the stillness that holds every experience, pleasure, pain, growth, and loss. Imagine sitting by a river. The water flows, leaves drift by, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. The river is like your body, always moving, changing, never the same from one moment to the next. But you, the one sitting on the shore, remain. This is why awareness is freedom. When you stop confusing yourself with the body, fear begins to dissolve. Aging becomes natural. Illness becomes less frightening. Even death loses its sharp edge, because you realize what you truly are cannot decay. Does this mean we ignore the body? Not at all. We care for it, we respect it, we nourish it. But we do so with gentleness, not obsession. Because we know, deep down, the body is a vehicle, not the driver. So the next time you see a wrinkle in the mirror, pause. Instead of resisting, whisper to yourself, "This is the body's journey, not mine." Feel the shift in your chest when you say that. A sense of peace arises. A soft smile may even appear. Because you remember the real self is vast, spacious, and timeless. And when you live from that place, life becomes lighter. You stop fearing what is inevitable. You start cherishing what is eternal. You are not your body. You are the presence within, beyond form. 9. Be a lamp unto yourself. There comes a point in life when we realize something profound. The teachers, the guides, the books, even the voices we've leaned on for years, they can only carry us so far. And in that moment, a quiet question rises inside. Whose light am I really walking by? For many of us, this is a turning point, because depending too much on the wisdom of others can create an invisible chain. We start to doubt our own inner knowing. We hesitate, we second guess, and we wait for someone else to tell us what to do. But the Buddha left us a message that cuts through that doubt. He said, "Be a lamp unto yourself." What does that mean? It means the answers are not hiding in some distant place. They are not reserved for saints or scholars. They are already within you, waiting for you to trust them. Think of a dark path at night. If you carry only the light of others, the moment they step away, you are left stumbling. But if you kindle your own flame, even a small one, the path before you becomes clear. And here is the beautiful part. Your light doesn't just guide you. It quietly illuminates the way for others who are also searching. Of course, this is not easy. There's a struggle inside. A part of us longs for certainty, for someone to hand us all the answers. And yet, deep down, we know walking in borrowed light will never bring true freedom. To be a lamp unto yourself is to take responsibility, to pause, breathe, and listen. To trust that the same awareness that notices your breath, your thoughts, your fears, is also the source of wisdom. You've had moments like this before, times when your intuition whispered and you just knew what to do. That clarity didn't come from outside, it rose from within. The practice is learning to return to that place again and again, through meditation, through reflection, through honest self-inquiry. And when you do, something changes. Life feels less like a maze and more like a path. Each step becomes lighter because you are not walking in someone else's shadow. And remember, being a lamp unto yourself doesn't mean walking alone. It means you bring your own light into the shared journey. And when lights come together, the world becomes brighter for all. So tonight, before you sleep, try this. Close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, and whisper gently, "I carry my own light." Feel that truth settling in. That light has always been with you. It will never leave you. Be a lamp unto yourself, and in doing so, you may discover you've been lighting the way for others all along. 10. Death is not the end, but a continuation. Death is something we all think about, but most of us try to avoid. It frightens us because we've been taught to see it as the end of our story, the end of who we are. But what if death is not an ending at all? What if it's simply a continuation? Think of a wave rising on the ocean. For a while, it has its own form, tall, moving, alive, and then it falls back into the sea. Did the wave truly disappear? Or did it just return to where it came from? This is how Buddhism teaches us to see death, not as a vanishing, but as a transformation, a returning. Of course, our human mind resists this. We cling to our loved ones, to our bodies, to our names, because we want permanence. And when death comes close, it feels like everything is being taken away. But here is the shift. When we understand impermanence, death stops being an enemy. It becomes a teacher. Because what truly remains after us are not our possessions, not our titles, not even the roles we played. What endures are the seeds we have planted, seeds of love, of kindness, of presence. Think of someone you loved who has passed away. Yes, their body is gone, but do they not still live in you? In the way you laugh, in the way you comfort others, in the lessons they gave you without words. Their wave has returned to the ocean, but the ripple of their being continues to touch your life. And so will yours. Every smile you share, every hand you hold, every moment of patience, forgiveness, or compassion, these are seeds. They will sprout long after your body has returned to the earth. This is why death is not something to fear, but something to prepare for, not by clinging tighter to life, but by living with more love, more awareness, more presence. The Buddha once said, "Of all footprints, the elephant's is supreme. Of all meditations, the meditation on death is supreme." He was not inviting us to despair, but to wake up, to see that, because time is precious, every moment is sacred. And when we see this clearly, life itself becomes lighter. Each day, each breath becomes enough. So, when the thought of death enters your mind, don't push it away. Instead, let it remind you to live fully, to love deeply, to plant seeds that will grow beyond your lifetime. Because death is not the end. It is the wave returning to the sea. It is you flowing back into the vastness you came from. And in that returning, nothing is truly lost. 11. Gratitude as daily practice. As the years pass, we begin to notice changes. The body slows down. The face we see in the mirror is not the same as it once was. Friends may leave, loved ones may pass, and life can sometimes feel like it is shrinking instead of expanding. It's easy, in those moments, to focus on what we've lost, to mourn what has slipped through our fingers, to feel that time has stolen something from us. But here is a truth that aging quietly reveals. Life has never been about holding on. It has always been about learning how to appreciate what is here, right now. Gratitude is the bridge. When we practice gratitude, we shift the mind from scarcity to abundance. Instead of saying, "Look at all that's gone," we begin to say, "Look at what still remains." The breath that carries us through this very moment. The relationships, however imperfect, that give warmth to our days. Even the challenges, the hardships, the struggles, they too become teachers, sharpening our patience and deepening our compassion. You see, gratitude does not erase the pain of loss. It doesn't pretend that life is easy. What it does is transform the way we carry it. It softens the edges of sorrow and allows joy to enter, even in the smallest details. Think about a simple cup of tea in the morning. The warmth in your hands, the steam rising gently. In youth, it's easy to rush past such moments. But with age, gratitude teaches us to linger, to taste it fully. Or consider the laughter of a grandchild, or the quiet company of a friend. Gratitude turns these ordinary encounters into sacred experiences. Buddhism reminds us that a thankful heart is a happy heart. Why? Because gratitude anchors us in the present. It keeps us from drowning in regret over the past or fear of the future. And the more we practice it, the more natural it becomes. Some people keep a gratitude journal. Others take a moment each morning to silently give thanks before rising from bed. It doesn't have to be complicated. Even pausing right now to notice your breath and whisper, "Thank you," is already a practice. With gratitude, aging stops feeling like a slow decline. Instead, it becomes a deepening, a refinement, an opening of the eyes to the beauty that was always here, waiting to be seen. So, the invitation is simple. Each day, ask yourself, what can I give thanks for today? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but in this very breath. Because gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a way of living. And when we choose it, even the ordinary moments of life become extraordinary. Summary and reflection. Aging is not the story of fading away. It is the story of waking up. When we stop clinging to youth, when we release the need to control every outcome, when we no longer compare our path with someone else's, something shifts. We find freedom. Every wrinkle becomes more than just a line on the skin. It becomes a reminder of lessons we have lived through. Every gray hair whispers about endurance, compassion, and the presence we've cultivated along the way. Time does not take these things from us. It deepens them. Impermanence is not a curse, it is a teacher. It shows us that nothing is truly ours to hold on to. And yet, that same truth frees us. Because when we learn to let go, we finally begin to live fully in this very breath. Gratitude is what turns aging into a blessing. Gratitude transforms the aches, the changes, the slowing down, into opportunities to notice joy in its simplest forms, the warmth of the sun, the laughter of a grandchild, the stillness of morning. With gratitude, every day is a gift, not a loss. So the real lesson is clear. Peace does not come from resisting age. It comes from walking with it, hand in hand, with mindfulness, compassion, and gratitude. We are not merely bodies that wear down. We are awareness itself, awareness that can grow brighter, kinder, and freer with each passing year. And when death finally arrives, it is not an ending. It is a continuation of the love we've shared, the wisdom we've planted, and the presence we've left behind in the hearts of others. Maybe you've seen this in someone close to you, a parent, a teacher, a friend who grew softer, wiser, more radiant with age. Or maybe you've already felt this shift in yourself. If so, let it be a reminder. You are not losing time. You are gaining depth. If this message has touched your heart, take a quiet moment to reflect on who you'd like to share it with. Send this video to them as a gift of encouragement and peace. And if you'd like to walk further with us on this path of Buddhist wisdom, consider subscribing for more teachings that nourish the soul. Thank you, deeply, for staying with me until the end of this reflection. May you carry peace in your heart, gratitude in your steps, and may each day ahead feel lighter, brighter, and more meaningful.